Hello everyone and welcome to episode 20 of GuildGab, all aboard the hype train! Woo! Guild Wars 2, Heart of Thorns!
Hello.
Hype train is a go. We are so excited here. We are excited for episode 8. So let's get started. First I'm going to introduce everybody. We have a full cast today. To my left is Akasaurus Rex joining us.
I've got rum with me too. Yeah.
He is ready. Corvus from Corvus Plays.
Yo, what's up?
And Alex from the RPG Shack.
What's going on, guys? Good to be back.
We are all aboard the hype train, you guys. Hype, hype. Oh my gosh, episode 8.
So much.
There are no breaks.
Sylvari are minions of Mordremoth.
I know.
What?
I know.
And while I was watching, I was like, they weren't seeds, they were eggs. By the way, should we probably say there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this episode?
Yeah,
you should know by now to not watch GuildGab if you haven't played the episode yet. There you go. So,
No, I mean,
who shed manly tears?
I'm like, yeah.
I didn't. But I loved this episode. This was probably my favorite update ever in Guild Wars 2. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I mean, I thought the season 1 finale was good, and this like blew it out the water for me. Loved it. And as someone who mains a Sylvari, I think like it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with the like dynamic and of kind of racism basically, that's potentially going to be going on.
Right.
So I think that's so cool.
It was really kind of interesting what happened, and I was just like, I was kind of watching it, and she was like, "What's she gonna do to? No, not to win."
That I didn't see coming. I guess I saw the Sylvari secret coming. I saw the pack getting destroyed coming. It was like a lot of stuff. I was like, okay, saw it coming. When she killed Win, I was like,
that is one bit I absolutely loved in that final cutscene. By the way, there's like a minute of build-up of awesome kind of packed. La da da, we're going to kill Mordremoth, and they get their asses kicked inside the first 5 seconds. I was like, well, that was worth it, lads. Pack up and try again.
That was beautiful.
Was anyone confused? I personally was a tiny bit confused watching the cutscenes. Like I didn't realize like that it was the Sylvari attacking because they had heavy armor on, and I was like, are those humans? Are those Sylvari? What, like, I don't know. I think the painterly effect confused me a little bit. It
was one of those things that you have to watch like a few times to see
definitely.
everything. But it was really good. Like I never noticed at first that like you actually see Sylvari like throwing like bombs basically at other airships and stuff from airships. Like the Sylvari within the pack are turning and starting to serve Mordremoth like while they're flying to the jungle and stuff. Stuff like that I think is so cool. But yeah, like if you've not watched it a handful of times, then definitely go and do that because you're bound to have missed like some things.
Do you think it was their proximity to Mordremoth as they flew in all those Sylvari, and as they got closer and closer, all of a sudden they started turning? Do you think it was coincidence?
That's it. Like we don't really know why they've suddenly turned. Like, we've had we had ArenaNet at the start of season 2 who attacked the Zephyrite ships, and obviously Scarlet's one, but then she kind of unlocked her mind anyway. But like maybe it is because they're getting closer and closer, or maybe it's because maybe Mordremoth's getting a bit more conscious, like he's waking up more or something like that. It could be anything, because I mean the cutscene started off with the eye kind of image, so maybe that's like a sign of him waking up, and then everything that follows is because he's kind of woken up a bit more. I guess we'll have to wait and see for that stuff, but yeah, it's interesting. And in the cutscenes as well, I mean Canucks seem to be pretty normal.
Right, we still have Sylvari that are normal. Like, Calith is still fine.
Yeah, and they're not going to turn player characters into evil bastards.
Right,
so,
PvP.
I don't know, like
PvE, PvP confirmed. Player versus player. Open world PvP.
So it's going to be interesting to see, like, which Sylvari turn and why some turn and others don't.
Unfortunately, Traherne's still fine. Which is
but then he disappears. Like, you see him in, like, the first few scenes of the attack and the cutscene and stuff, but then you don't really see him in any other shots afterwards. So
well, the ships all get blown up, but then you see I think something we have to establish, because this really confused me the first time we watched it. There's 2 cutscenes. The first one is the end of season 2. The pack get destroyed. You see Destiny's Edge part of Destiny's Edge plus Traherne, Air, Soja, and Logan, and Traherne, and you see the Sylvari attacking. Then there's a second cutscene, which is a trailer for Heart of Thorns. That's things that are going to come. That really confused me. So when I saw Rytlock in the second trailer, I thought we were still watching what was going on, and I'm like, suddenly Rytlock's back? I was like, we barely even had Rytlock mentioned.
Who did we see before Rytlock, though?
That's the big question.
There's a figure before
Rytlock. It's gotta be a Mersat.
I'm edging towards either Mersat or a Marganite. The only reason I think Marganite is because Abaddon's statue in the middle of the library. It seems kind of cool just to have there as a bit of a nod, but it would be kind of interesting to kind of tie that in, especially when you've got the stuff with Terraiosa and everybody in the library.
This first time I saw it, I definitely thought it was a Mersat. Like, I just instantly was like, yeah, that's it. And then afterwards, you know, I was looking at other people speculating, and they were talking about potentially being like a seer or something. And I then was kind of like doubting myself, but I think it's definitely a Mersat. It lines up with what Kate's talking over the top of it. It lines up with what she's saying at the time, like the stuff about insight and things like that.
Right.
I mean, he's the whole golden like building in front of it, or you know, it's just
Golden
another thing.
City,
the helmet,
Golden Mersat City.
Yeah. The helmet.
He's got like the feathers. He's got like the feathers.
The feathers, yeah.
The Mersat and the Seer look so similar, and if you look at the two, it could be a Seer, but it makes so much more sense to be a Mersat.
Yeah.
And what is really interesting to me is that you have the scene with the Mersat in that golden tower, and it starts glowing, and then right after you have Rytlock, and it's very obvious that the power from this tower, this Mersat tower, I'm going to call it, like transitions to around Sahothan that Rytlock is holding, and Rytlock comes forward, and that is exactly when Kaith says you need insight, and the way she says it, she's like, you need strength, strategy, and insight. And then it shows Rytlock, and he's got this power of the Mersat going around Sahothan, and then he steps forward, swings a sword, destroys just with one swing, destroys like 10 Mordrem. I have a feeling that Rytlock is going to come and just be this complete badass, imbued with the power of the Mersat. I think that when he went through the portal, he went into the part of the mists where the Mersat were high, or maybe there's just one Mersat because we pretty much thought that they were extinct. He goes and finds like this one Mersat, it like imbues him with power, and he maybe had to lose his sight in order to see it or something. That's my big theory.
I've got a slightly alternate theory. When Rytlock went into the mist, he went somewhere. I haven't quite figured that part out yet. Well, I have, but we talk about the Golden City. Did anyone here ever play any Guild Wars 1 PvP?
I didn't.
The final map is a giant golden city place, which is the Hall of Heroes. So, protected to godhood by entering the Hall of Heroes through the mists. Which it's something that kind of happens in Lord of the Rings, that Gandalf's sent down, and he's got the power to interfere with Sauron and when the rest of the Valar don't. So it could be kind of that idea. They've created a god out of Rytlock, like a proper god, not one of the weird, not like a Titan or anything that the Flame Legion believe in, but the Rytlock's become one of like the 6, or I guess now 7, maybe. It could be interesting if the Sylvari are kind of splintering off, and you know there's the doubt raised about them, but then you've got the Char being brought into the human pantheon, and you know kind of cementing those ties between them. Because you see all the stuff in the personal story. If you take the Char option about the treaty between the Char and Ascalon, and there's all the stuff with the Renegades and the Separatists. So I think giving a little bit more cohesion to the human Char alliance could be on the cards.
It would cause a lot of waves. So with humans,
the human gods, if he's standing beside them, that would be amazing.
That being said, we've been given so many more hints at how the gods could just be people with power. Why couldn't someone like
Rytlock take that power?
Why could he not be granted that power? We see him destroy those husks. I think they were like in one blow.
Yeah.
He's got a super powerful sword anyway. Like it would, there's no reason why he couldn't have somehow found some new power, like while being lost in the mists.
That would just be amazing, because that would blow a hole in the entire human religion.
Yeah,
which if a Char ascended and became a god.
They've been slowly chipping away at that. The idea that gods were these amazing beings. Like, we've been slowly fed more information. Like, anyone with that kind of power would be referred to as a god, surely. Like, it's nothing special. Anyone with power could be what they are.
Right.
Like,
the White Mantle consider the Mersat gods.
Rytlock could come back. Like I seriously doubt that they would do this per se. He's probably just going to come back and be more powerful and whatnot. But it'd be really cool if they actually just were going on a kind of cultural vibe, and if Rytlock came back as not so much a god worshiper or something like that, but if he came back and had like a title of like the prophet or something, so like he could be like like the prophet of the Char kind of thing. So it's like religiously, but using that different terminology, he could be like the first Char to have contacted divine beings, to actually really have a tete-a-tete with them. And then, because like I was like thinking that like maybe like when he was out there, he discovered like the full power of Hawthorne, and or the gods met up with him and were like, hey, this is how you use it. You press the on button, and now he's like, his lightsaber works now.
What I was thinking as well, despite the fact that we get absolutely pasted in the final 20 seconds of the season, it's also the first time that we have Mordremoth on the back foot, because we kill his lieutenant. In fact, we kill his lieutenant single-handedly in what admittedly is a fantastic boss fight.
That was really good.
Dude.
Awesome mechanics. It's not easy either, which you've got to be good on your dodges. You've got to figure out the mechanics for yourself. Aside from Bram going, "Here, boss, here's your torch, boss," but it's kind of got. The downside is I can imagine it being a little bit too easy with a party of 5. I
did it with 2, and we didn't die once, but it was fun. It was still like we were running around trying to figure out what to do. So I loved the mechanics of it, but I agree that with a lot of people, probably would have gone really fast.
I played through it solo the first time, and on a necro as well. So there's like no way to really give yourself stability and stuff. So Bram was actually a huge help, putting the little bubble around me that granted me that and stuff.
Oh.
But it took me ages to figure out that I could actually kill the little things that distinguish the light and stuff, or extinguish the light.
But you've got to shoot them while you've got the brazier.
But so I was just like running around, and they would slowly go out, and I was like, "What the hell?" And I died a couple of times doing a solo. But after I learned the mechanics, I played through it later with a friend, and we did kind of just walk through it super easily. Like it wasn't that tricky. So yeah, I think like with a party of 5 people, it must be super easy.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I think the music was great. The mechanics were super cool. The little bits, like, it reminded me of Zelda loads. Like, you finish a stage of the boss fight, and then you see a little cutscene when it goes to the next kind of stage.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It reminded me of, like, I guess more traditional games, and I think that's super cool. Because MMO bosses tend to just be stand here and do your rotation, and I think like this season, what with like that Terragriff boss that we got earlier on in the season and stuff like that, like ArenaNet are super good at designing boss fights. So
I think in the last couple of months, like, to their credit, I mean, ArenaNet have really stepped up the game in providing challenges, providing interesting content. I mean, like, Silverwastes is still packed. Like, compared to what happened with the dry top runs, where they were kind of getting there with what they wanted to do, but the Silverwastes have absolutely nailed it. And you add the breach into the equation, and then on top of that, you have the legendary bad guys as well. It's like there's all these boss fights and these group mechanics. It's just really, really well thought out. It's enough to give people a challenge, but not enough to knock people flat on their ass and get them to rage quit.
Yeah.
And like the only slight criticism that I have, and it's ridiculous for criticizing this because it's what people wanted all along, that I felt that if one had a cynical mind, that that the introduction of like some Guild Wars 1 lore about the Forgotten and all that was a little arbitrary. It could have been done with some new lore or something like that, but apart from that, I thought that it was a really great way to just go, hey, you know, we recognize that people want in, you know, some of the old Guild Wars 1 lore, and also it was a really good swing to take, because everyone was going, oh my god, Crystal Desert, Cantha Alona, you know, whatever, and then they were just like, well, no, we're doing Maguma Jungle. This is this is what we've been doing. Or like, you guys,
that's the part I don't like. No, I like the incorporation of Guild Wars 1. Nostalgia, man.
No, absolutely. I thought it was really great, and seeing Tyraios there, and you know, even you know, Ogden Stonehealer, and having the fights and all the great little nods to the Guild Wars 1 lore, and you have the conversation with Ogden about what happened to Tyraios and how Palo Ojoko took over Alona. And that it was fantastic. The way it was implemented was great. I was just thinking, it's like Divine Fire. I don't remember any of this from Guild Wars 1, but I might not have been paying attention. This was like nearly 10 years ago, so you know, give me a break.
Right.
Yeah, I really liked the nods back there. That golden cave was just see that first cutscene when you finally get to it, and that I seriously, like, the music in this patch was amazing. The attack on the Pact camp in Silverwastes that you play through, like, felt so much like we were properly at war, and I think the music did a lot there, but the music that plays in that cave was just so good, like, and the design of it, everything was amazing. What I thought was super interesting was, like, when you first like activate the door and like the Mordremoth run away, you kind of think, oh right, so Calith brought the egg here, it's a super safe place, it like keeps the minions away. But then the Shadow of the Dragon just turns up and somehow doesn't care about that stuff. Like, it, you know, all the other Mordremoth are scared.
It's more powerful than all that forgotten magic.
I wonder if there's like if there's maybe a reason somewhere that it wasn't scared.
I didn't even think about that, actually. There really wasn't an explanation as to how it's just like, hello.
Yeah.
What happened is, like, but we kind of found Calith, and she was like, lol, hi, I have the egg. And we were like, Calith, give us the egg.
Calith?
And then she was like, lol, no. And then ran off.
Right?
Lol.
I literally said, is that it? Is it over? Yeah. Because I was like, we still don't know where Calith is. We're still chasing her. We still don't know where the egg is. We still don't know why she took it, why it's important. There's still all these questions. I think that's
like 2 patches now that we've been expecting to find out.
I think that's one reason that I was way more impressed by Season 1's ending. I mean, this was fantastic, but
there was more finality. Yeah.
Exactly, there was an ending to Season 1. There was an ending, and then a new beginning that we didn't see coming with the dragon, with Mordremoth's mouth opening, and there was all the speculation. Here, it's a continuing story, and I understand that maybe it's just kind of like it's a prologue to Heart of Thorns, and that's fine. I keep wanting to call it Game of Thorns. Missed the perfect opportunity. But then we couldn't have had HoT.
Yeah. See, like, that's I think that's probably because Season 1 was so final and was like just on paper was just everything you needed to be like an ending. That's why I was expecting something like, oh yeah, things are gonna get destroyed, Mordremoth's gonna wake up, and half of Tyria is gonna be ripped up, and all this stuff. Like,
right.
And I was expecting that kind of thing because I'd assumed it was gonna be like a finale in kind of the true sense, like it was gonna close off so much stuff. And there was probably people out there expecting to see Rytlock again, like just to close off these threads that we've had. But I think the whole idea of Season 2 was probably more of it was just a setup for whatever Heart of Thorns is going to be.
Yeah.
Like, it was more like an introduction than its own self-contained like season with a beginning, middle, and an end.
Right, and that's fine. Yeah, I was just expecting totally more finality to it. Like, the very last thing we hear in the trailer is Bram going, "We take the fight to Mordremoth," and I'm just like, still.
Yeah.
But
the thing is, I think what they've done here is it's been a phenomenal end to Season 2 after what has, I think anybody will admit, has been a very rough 6 or 7 months for ArenaNet. Like,
absolutely,
they have had to deal with some really harsh community backlash, and even the things that they've been doing off outside of the game, like Chris Whiteside restarting the CDIs and getting people involved, listening to what people want, and can't get my words out. Even though in all probability they've been working on whatever Heart of Thorns is in the background, and that they might have had to have put what they're actually implementing into the living world and into the game on the back burner, and the last couple of episodes have really brought in and shown what ArenaNet can do, and I've been having a bit of a jump around. Bit of a jump around the game, bit of a jump around Reddit, bit of a jump around the forums. It's like there is nobody out there who doesn't love the ending to season 2.
Yeah.
And it seems like a perfect setup to Heart of Thorns. And I'm really hoping they can pull it off. And I'm just hoping there was a document that was released. I say released. It was made available on the internet.
Right.
And it was on it. There's it's either NCSoft's or ArenaNet's projected kind of profit margin or increased or something, and it skyrockets in Q3 2015. So whether or not we have to wait another 9 months for whatever Heart of Thorns is, I think,
to be fair, I think that's what it's going to be. I think the third quarter will be when they release it. I think that purely because they're gonna need time to market this and advertise it and promote it as much as possible. They could probably, because they've been working on it for 2 years, arguably. Like it's probably ready to go, bar a few bug fixes. But they're probably gonna want to have like a beta period. They're gonna want
that's possible.
Enough time to. I mean, every expansion gets a beta, like traditionally. So I don't see why they wouldn't want to test this out, have stress tests and stuff. For any new areas or like game types and stuff like that, and I think advertising is like the most important part of this, because we want them to get money, we want them to be like to bring in new players, and that's the best way to go. If they were to announce it and it's coming out like in 2 months, it's not going to give them enough time to really attack potential players with the idea of this and stuff like that. So. Yeah, and whether that means that we're going to have I doubt we're going to get a third living story, but I think maybe bring stuff like Super Adventure Box and stuff back, Dragon Bash and stuff.
There's like a lot of
we lost your video and it went back to you.
Oh, crap.
Oh, man. Oh, here we go.
Come back.
I was talking about now.
I'm sorry, I was too distracted by Hot's picture.
What did you guys think of the Vinewrath fight?
I enjoyed it. I wish it had been a bit more difficult. I attempted it once, and I managed it the first time I did it, like running with people. So I don't know. I don't think it was as difficult as it could be. But it was fun. I like having lanes again.
It's a mini marionette.
Exactly. It was cool.
They listened. There was a ton of people that said we want the marionette fight back.
I think it perfectly fits the Silverwastes, like in terms of everyone's working together across the map, and to have something that brings everyone
to one point in the map,
point, and to really push up. I think that's super, super cool. I really liked it. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but there is I don't know if it's the only one, but there's like a super rare drop from one of the champions there. And it's like, you know how at Halloween they had those accessories that dropped that like kind of tinted your character a different color.
Do you know what I was? Is it the? Yeah, I was standing outside my bank earlier, and some guy was all green and stuff. He had like a whole bunch of celestial bonuses to him.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
That's one of the things from Halloween where it changes the tint of your whole character, and it's like celestial stats. But there's actually one that drops from, I can't remember which champion it is, but it's one of the bosses, the Vinewrath. And what it does, it gives you like I think it's like little glowing bees around you.
Really?
And when you run, you have like a little trail that looks like a honeycomb.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. I think like there's only been one on the trading post ever, and some guy managed to buy it off there for like 1 gold or something stupid. So
What?
like if you want to look at it, you have to search for it, but you can't look at because there's none available on the trading post at all. So you have to.
I
look
like
at just,
items like that are super rare. You know, when all it does is it makes you glow, but if everybody had this glow, it would be really distracting and kind of stupid. So if you have it's special when you're running around and you see that one person that has that glow, you're like, oh, that person's
so
cool.
What I really liked about the Vinerath fight, that, like you say, it was essentially a mini marionette, and I remember I thought the marionette was fantastic, but I thought some of the mechanics of it were a little bit obtuse. I think in general it was a bit too hard for unorganized PvE, because you had five separate bosses where you've got to learn the mechanics, and if one thing fails, everybody gets annoyed with the lane that fails. I mean, if anything, there seemed to be more of an emphasis on the defense phase this time around, in an attempt to actually kind of keep players engaged to what was happening outside of the room itself.
Because the lanes are let in individually, and if you defeat one of the champions through the lanes, you can't enter again.
Yeah, you get that with the other debuff or something.
Yeah, but the thing is, you still have to escort the golems and stuff like that, because if one of them fails while another lane's inside, it still adds to the total, and if you lose 15 golems or something like that, the whole event fails. Yeah, so it's cool because you all defend the golems and push forward, and then there's still stuff to do while the other sides are in. I think definitely the marionette was quite tricky because for general kind of players that are unorganized. And it was especially tricky because at the time there was no mega servers, and I play on Whiteside Ridge, which is kind of a super tiny server, and at the time was really unpopulated, so it was really difficult. And obviously there was that thing where you get sent into the small areas for the marionette, and you have to be successful, otherwise the whole thing screws up. And so I think maybe once I managed to do the marionette. The rest of the times I tried, it was always a failure. So yeah, the mega servers really help stuff like this and lets them do more mechanic based bosses like this. And so I'm looking forward to hopefully them introducing more stuff like this in the future.
I thought the bosses had some really good mechanics as well. There's the boss where you hide behind the honeycomb walls where they're all built up, and then there's the one that sets the entire floor on fire unless you're standing on top of the flowers. And it was really good. It was just nice to have a really kind of frantic DPS fest. And I think like I've already said, they've struck the balance right between relatively casual kind of open world play and organized. It requires some organization, but you can manage it in map chat, and you don't have to have 150 people on TS like you have to do with the Worm. And does anyone know if it's permanent, by the way? I mean, I suppose it's going to have.
So.
I suppose it's going to have to be, because it's the only way you can get the carapace coats.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, compare that to dry top. It's does anyone still get? Dry top's pretty quiet. I'd imagine these days.
I think I've been back to dry top once since the Silverwastes came out.
It's weird, because the difference between Silverwastes and dry top was so obvious. I love dry top. I think it's a really well designed map. It's a really pretty map as well. But with dry top, whenever they added a new section to it, it was people would go back for that day, and then it would kind of empty out slowly throughout the week or weeks. But Silverwastes is always there. There's always tons of people on LFG trying to taxi people in, and there's always organized runs and stuff going on. So I think Silverwastes is going to be a really popular map for months and months to come. The loot's just good anyway, just for champ bags and stuff. It's just really good.
And it's a karma train as well. You get an organized Silverwastes. You're eventing every 2 minutes, and you're completing events every 2 minutes. Even if you tag something, and you're there, you're getting your karma. You're getting like you said, Corvus, you're getting your loot, and then on top of that, you have to do the entire thing plus the breach. And then after that, you get the Vinerath as well. So you're just getting loot and loot and loot and loot. And also, sorry for going on, there's something that you get. I can't remember how you get it, but you can get a locked bandit chest in your home instance as well.
Yeah.
By completing the story.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Oh, fantastic. Which you can't open without a bandit key. So if you want
which
to
you
access,
have to play the Silverwastes to get.
It's brilliant. It's so well done.
It's a really good idea.
And the rate at which you like, I think I can't remember. We played together for a couple of hours yesterday, didn't we? Of course, can't remember if you got into the Silverwastes I was in, but just I racked up about 500 bandit crests in 40 minutes. I don't know if I don't know if that's good or not in the grand scheme of things, but you just watch them fill up your inventory. And I like me some loot.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's always useful because you can buy, the ascended accessories and stuff again for bandit crests. Like, you get them for doing the story achievements, but you can buy them with bandit crests. So if you have a few alts that need like the sinister stats or something like that, you can buy more. So bandit crests are, I think they're for a long while they're going to be quite a relevant currency, and you're always going to want to have some hanging around for different. There's tonics and stuff as well that you can buy with them. Yeah, there's a couple of minis now, so it's just, I don't know, it's always worth it. And yeah, like you said, like the keys, that's always going to be a thing you're going to want. So yeah, Silverwastes I think is going to stay around for a while. And I guess the Vinera thing I guess is a champion of Mordremoth, but we still have Tequatl. We still have like Claw Jormag, even though we've killed them all 1,000 million times or whatever. So like, I think no matter what happens, it's always going to be, that boss will be permanent, and the whole map's always going to be active.
If this is, they have not yet said the word expansion for one.
No.
That has to be what Heart of Thorns is, but they've not said the word expansion.
They've not really said anything about anything.
Right.
They barely said anything about the whole
They're
thing.
saying next weekend, next Saturday, make sure to tune in. And we have to find out like details. If you think we're going to get new races, new weapons, we saw there was a lot of hinting to spears or halberds in the trailer. Lots and lots of those.
It's a new PvP mode.
Oh God!
Lots of thorns.
They don't trademark logos and names for PvP modes.
I bet it's one map called Heart of Thorns, and it's just like PvP inside the nightmare, inside the Silverwaste labyrinth or something.
On Mordremoth's back.
And they feast on the rage. No.
See, like, and on the topic of like new races, I think the trailer we got really like cut my expectations for new races like down. I don't know. I'm totally less confident that we're gonna get something like that. I think it's just because the trailer for it wasn't like we're going to a specific continent. What playable races are there going to be in the jungle and stuff like that? It just until we get new details.
Are a new race.
Well, the thing is,
don't see that.
Heavy armor spellcasters, anyone?
Well. The thing is, the Masat, like in Guild Wars 1 lore, they originate from the Lake of Janthir, which is up north past the Maguma jungle. So if we're heading that way, it's not outside the realms of possibility. But I kind of I don't see the value in having an elder race as a playable race.
Yeah. I think they're kind of too OP, they're too special, they're too much of a powerful race to be able to just hand out to players.
It would be a really perfect time to actually get people in Lion's Arch to really forcibly knock on the doors of the Tengu and say, would you guys help us already? Because to get them bloody out the window, and because like if and this is something that I'm really hoping could happen when Heart of Thorns, if once that hits, and this is something I'd love, I doubt they do, but I'd love it, if it like makes the Sylvari unplayable, and then you can only make a playable Sylvari like before it, and then after it, those Sylvari that you've made will be the ones that
I think there would be rage.
I'd kill someone if that happened.
I think there would be rage.
I just think it'd be so cool because like they're like making most Sylvari like evil.
It would just be a nice reminder, like when they destroyed Lion's Arch, that ArenaNet are like all powerful and
we're the only MMO in history to take away a race.
Exactly.
It would be a very ballsy move if they did that, but I just can't see them doing it because that is it's a city and it's an entire kind of chunk of living story that you've got to get rid of, and then it's a bit weird. It'd be cool though.
I would just because it like just feels like they're going to do something with the Sylvari overall, because like they literally are becoming an enemy race with this trailer.
Yeah. We're losing you, buddy.
I was getting too intense. My laptop couldn't help it. Like, he's getting excited. Oh, yeah.
With the Sylvari, it's like at least there's still a lot of, as we saw in the trailer, a lot of major NPCs, and there's still regular Sylvari that are still good. So it's not like every single Sylvari in the world except the player character suddenly turned evil.
You know how Sylvari talk about being corrupted by the nightmare.
Yeah.
Right.
What if the opposite is true and they've been cleansed by the dream? What if the Sylvari default state is the nightmare?
Because that's as we saw with Fowlin.
Did you see that bit in the cutscene where she like stabs some dude right through the rib cage?
Exactly. But the thing is, what side was she on? Because like Alex is frozen for me.
The connection is so bad today.
Anyway, but yeah, what side was Fowlin on? Because she was fighting the Sylvari that had turned.
Was she?
Yeah.
See, they had all this armor on. I wish they would have made it more obvious what was Sylvari and what wasn't.
Like all of the other Sylvari looked like were corrupted, but she just was normal Fowlin, and so I don't know what this means. And as we saw with like back when we were flashbacking as Calith and stuff, she was super against this idea of having like a preset mindset and this is how you should be, like rules basically. And surely that ties in with the idea of not wanting to be like a servant to anything, be it the Pale Tree or Mordremoth. So she could actually potentially, like the nightmare could be, seeing as they're so like resistant against following orders,
you're right.
Could she not be on our side almost?
You're right. They would actually be against Mordremoth because Mordremoth wants this hive mind. He wants to control all the Sylvari and make them these mindless minions.
So she's gonna be totally not willing to.
I didn't even think of it that way.
Turn
You're totally
to his
right.
side in a way. So I think that would be such a cool thing if for her to kind of come forward and, you know, while she's not gonna be super good, you know, she's gonna be still against Mordremoth like we are, and that could be so cool to see. Maybe the nightmare and how resilient they are against following orders and being servants to anything.
The nightmare could actually be
powerful
our allies.
Yeah,
the enemy that's cool enemy.
Whoa!
But it's that to be fair, that's a lot better than my theory. Mine sucks. But no, I mean, because you've got the soundless to consider as well, because they've got no. That's the thing. Are the soundless immune to the corruption if they're not connected to the dream?
But that could be them kind of lying in wait, really, and maybe when Mordremoth wakes up, because there was Malik as well, who came from a different Pale Tree,
yeah. Right.
And so
and wasn't Aaron soundless?
Yeah,
he was corrupted.
So I think maybe the people who aren't connected, like the Pale Tree obviously grants protection, and maybe because they're so far away and they're closer to Mordremoth, that's why some of the Sylvari and the ships get turned or something. But I think for the people like the Sylvari that we're going to come across in the jungle, who are going to be from different Pale Trees, are probably going to be full on corrupted and stuff. Because I think the Pale Tree is fairly unique in being,
good,
because of
good.
because of Ventari's tablet. That's what makes our Pale Tree special.
Well, that's really interesting. So if we're putting forward the theory that Sylvari are by default evil,
this puts a different spin on Malik.
Yeah, definitely. And
that's something that I really like. Their default status is to be minions of this dragon, and whatever happened with the Pale Tree obviously was a form to kind of cleanse them, as it were. And I just love the idea of like fighting against that nature, saying, well, I'm born and meant to be this, but I don't want to be. So
that's cool. Really it's super cool.
The thing is, now I've started thinking about it. It's kind of obvious because you've got Zaitan, who had the undead in awe. You've got the Shatterer. You've got Kralkatorrik, who has the branded. You've got Jormag, who has. Are they called Corrupted or Ice?
Ice Brood.
Yeah, you've got the Ice Brood there. You've got Primordus, who had the Destroyers.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Mordremoth needs his own posse as well.
So he's got the Mordrem and Sylvari.
Right, he's got the Mordrem and the Sylvari.
The kind of humanoid version of that.
Or the Sylvari are a humanoid version of Mordrem. Well, they are Mordrem because we know that because of Ventari's tablet and their influence, they took humanoid form.
Yeah.
Specifically, they're not naturally.
They're not naturally supposed to be,
Right. Yeah. They took that form specifically because they were influenced.
That's really cool.
Why was Malik the same then? If he came from a different
That's the question. Yeah, Malik is the wrench in this.
So maybe they do have humanoid Mordrem, and maybe in the jump we will come across Sylvari, but they're not Sylvari. They're just Mordrem.
Right.
But it's like the ideals that were passed on. I don't know. It's cool. But we now have a clearer vision of why the shadow of the dragon attacked the Pale Tree as well. Obviously, I'm assuming if the Pale Tree dies, it's going to be a lot more easy for current Sylvari to be corrupted and stuff like that. So yeah, it's cool. Super cool.
And like you said, it actually kind of makes kind of brings sense to why the starting Sylvari boss is the Shadow of the Dragon as well. From the very instance,
you're fighting against these urges or the corruption and stuff.
Fighting your true nature.
I think that's why this episode and stuff really. I don't know. It struck a chord with me because I started my Sylvari character, and I fought the Shadow of the Dragon, and now here I am, like a couple years down the line, and I'm. I actually killed it. And
that's so cool. That'd be so cool for a Sylvari character.
It felt amazing to finally get it done.
Nice.
It's just good.
Like I said, I think it's really nice that the Sylvari have come out as like the predominant race, the one that's being the most kind of interesting as having stuff going on. Because for a while I thought it was going towards the Azura, and I know there's a lot of love for the Azura out there, but I was kind of like, well, they're kind of interesting, but there's so much more we could do, and I'm just really glad that you've got all I love the Sylvari. I think they're great.
Yeah, I think because they're such a new race, and every other race has like a good chunk of lore behind it. The Sylvari were always kind of an anomaly.
They're new. They're only 25 years old.
Exactly. So I think it makes sense for them to build history on them and like a good backstory to them.
Yeah.
But also we could have traveled. Like, were they really gonna have us deal with Zaitan and then go for someone like Jormag next, and still have these like 25-year-old race just with much backstory to them and stuff like that? It would have been fine, but I think delving into their past more, and because I think out of all the Elder Dragons to go for, this probably is going to have a deeper ties to just Tyrian lore anyway, because this is probably going to have us dealing with stuff like the Massart, and we've already had some stuff to do with the Forgotten and like Ascension and stuff, and I think dealing with Mordremoth's been able to tap into more Guild Wars 1 stuff than any other Elder Dragon would have probably allowed us. So I'm super glad that we're going to take the fight to Mordremoth still.
Something I find kind of interesting, and I don't know if you guys picked up on this too, was that, when you see all the airships going towards the Maguma jungle, it's like when you see it, the Maguma jungle is thriving with life. Yeah. And life is one of the aspects of Mordremoth, who's being painted as this pure-on evil douche, and he is an evil douche, and he's killing, but he's also representative of life. So it's and to fight a being that is all about nature magic is something not done very often, because usually people with druidic nature magic, they're the good guys or the eco-planet warriors, whereas we're like fighting Mother Nature essentially. The bad side, the dark side of Mother Nature, and I'm finding this really neat because we're like fighting life now. We've gone from fighting death, and now we're fighting life. And it's just so trippy to think yourselves. It's like we're going to exterminate life, but it's just more life.
It's awesome. I think I've said it. I think I've said it in an older episode as well. Like, and I know Aka, you love dragons as much as I do as well. And like, I always felt weird fighting dragons because I think they're amazing, and we were told from so early on that they're kind of like a force of nature. Right. And it always felt strange to me that we would be going to war with something that's kind of just a natural cycle, and you see us with our machines and our bombs and stuff, and it's like,
That's the question. Are elder dragons evil, or they're just doing their natural thing?
Seeing like the airship like basically napalming the heck out of like a luscious forest and stuff, I was like,
and then the forest fights back.
Was everyone reliving that scene from Apocalypse Now?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's
because like that's like a great example. Sorry, I'll just like shut up in a moment. It's just like when you like see the like reference to like Vietnam of like this huge mechanical technology, carpet bombing nature, like ancient what have you nature. That's exactly how in Vietnam it was annihilating like the nature, and like many of the Vietnamese were very connected to their nature and jungles, which is one reason why so many were so easily against them, because they literally had a sacred bond to the natural world they're a part of. And it's just like a crazy imagery to think that we're carpet bombing this life. And Alex, sorry, I jumped in on there.
No, so I was just it's kind of interesting because like Corvus said that the dragons are a natural part of the world. So what we're essentially doing here is we're upsetting the bounds of we're upsetting the bounds of magic. We're disrupting ley lines.
We still have the eternal alchemy vision that we had. We destroyed Zaitan. It messed stuff up. And now we're going to go destroy Mordremoth? Are we going to mess more stuff up?
We had that book in the library as well, which was talking about balance and if things were to fall off, everything would just go to crap, basically. And I don't know, it always felt weird, like, going to war against something. I mean, obviously it's a threat to us. And like, for hundreds of years now, there's been various examples of the races trying to put a stop to it or escape from it, like, and stuff like that. So, it fits fine, but I just think it's strange. Surely there's a way we could keep them asleep or something instead. I don't know.
I thought about this. I see this as history repeating itself, because the last time the Elder Dragons rose, you had 5 races working together to defeat them. One of those races, the Mersat, betrayed everyone. Now we have 5 races, and now we're going to have the Sylvari betraying everyone.
Betraying everybody.
It's history repeating itself. Right. However, they were triumphant before. They had to give up a lot. They had to give up their magic, except for the Mersat, because they ran away. So, they ended up giving up all of their powers, all of their magic. A lot of them got wiped out or nearly wiped out. So, how much is this going to repeat history?
Well, yeah, the Jotun were kind of essentially lobotomized after the fight with the dragons, weren't they?
It's just such a shame. I think they were such a cool race. I really do.
There's a lot of
capacity, they're just so
for lore
dumb
in there.
now. I know.
That's a really kind of neat thing.
But like, there's a few meta events in the Shiver Peaks that like are so cool.
I was just saying that this is the kind of neat thing of even though it's really frustrating that Calith has once again gone and disappeared with the egg again. It's like that egg has the potential to actually give some kind of difference to this natural cycle of elder dragons destroying everything but their natural part of the planet. But what happens if you can actually do something to not make them pricks when they wake up? With this egg, possibly this egg can make like imagine if all the elder dragons had like the morality of Glint, for instance, when they wake up. So maybe they wake up and they wouldn't actually try to destroy everything. They'd have Glint's morality and then suck up the magic and go, "Oh, I'm full. Okay."
Well, that's another thing. We still don't know what the plans for the egg are. Like, a lot of people were speculating that maybe we were to hatch it and keep it like a good dragon, maybe fill the space with Zaitan so things are in balance or something. But we're still going to war with another dragon with the goals of killing it. Like, that's not going to sort the balance stuff out. Could it be a powerful ally in terms of fighting Mordremoth or something? Like, it's even the Pale Tree, because I played through like the whole season again last night. The Pale Tree was talking about how it was really important that the eggs looked after. And when you tell her that Calith ran off with it, she's like, "Why? Like, you're supposed to have it. Like, what's going on? Why is Calith running away with it?" Like, it seems strange, but why would the Pale Tree think it's super important? Like, why? I mean, I get the egg's important just because it's cool and stuff, but like, why is it such a? They're obviously telling us that it's going to be such an important factor in this war, and I don't really know why.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's just handy to have a dragon champion on your side, but it's gonna be newborn, basically. It's not like it's gonna be old and wise and powerful. I just don't understand.
Unless there's a way to accelerate its growth or something. I mean,
Yeah.
you know nothing
Like
about this. We've never hatched a baby dragon.
Yeah, like
we actually
I don't know,
had we had a theory actually from someone on Twitter who asked us a question. Michael Baruki asked, "What do you think about this idea? Calith took the egg and is going to make Glint's child the next Elder Dragon in order to take over the Sylvari from Mordremoth."
See, that would be quite a good. It would fill the gap, and it would kind of fix the problem of the Sylvari turning and stuff like that.
But how would that be achieved? Ancient magics or something? I don't know.
Well, it could create the aspect of a dragon civil war. Because as far as I understand,
that so much.
This baby dragon is called Gleam, isn't it? I think, or that's the going theory. Now,
well, Gleam was the one you see in Goldor's 1, I think.
Yeah. Now, Glint betrayed Kralkatorrik, and essentially tried to sell him out to Destiny's Edge. Now, Kralkatorrik killed Glint, but if I was Kralkatorrik, I'd be a little bit annoyed that the progeny of my traitorous lieutenant was again helping out the good guys.
Yeah.
And you know, if suddenly he goes, hang on, the Mordremoth's minions have got the eggs of one of my one of my dead lieutenants who was a bit of a douche to me. This won't stand. Kralkatorrik comes in. Dragon on dragon action.
Maybe that. I mean, so are you suggesting that maybe that's the plan, to basically keep the egg in.
We lost them again.
To keep the egg in Sylvari hands, so Kralkatorrik gets annoyed about it and tries to help us kill Mordremoth, essentially, or something. I
think it's incredibly far-fetched that will happen.
But I don't know. I'm just trying to think of any reason really that it's important to the Sylvari and the Pale Tree and Calith, obviously, that the egg's in their hands. I don't know.
I mean,
it's strange.
If you remember, was it the midpoint in season 2 where you have it was after the fight with the Shadow of the Dragon where you have that vision that the Pale Tree gives you, and there's all this stuff, like there's the crystal kind of stuff blowing up and everything. Whether or not that was just kind of alluding to returning to Glint's lair or not. It's just so like it's one of the few things that I have no idea. Like I have no reasonable theories about it at all. There's just like the usual nonsense that I can come up with.
Yeah.
But
well, no, I'm in the same boat because like, why did we obviously needed to find out why the Masterpiece had it? Where was he going? Was he maybe trying to take it to the same place Calith was taking it, like to keep it safe in a place where no corruption can get to it? But then, where is she taking it now? Why did she need to have it? Like, maybe the goal was just to keep it safe in this place that wards off enemies, so it could hatch. But then we still need a reason, like as to why it's important to have it, like because the Glint stuff could have just been kept out of this whole season, really. But they chose to put it in there because it's gonna be important in this fight, and I'm just trying to think of why it would be. And again, all I can really think of is just because it would be useful to have like a powerful dragon on our side.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that you know, it would give someone else potentially, if the plan was to make Glint into an Elder Dragon, you know, maybe the same thing will happen with this. And
because Ogden did mention that. We thought that Glint was going to become an Elder Dragon. So
maybe killing Mordremoth and she could fill that gap or something. I don't know.
But then we still have the gap of Zaitan.
Well, exactly.
And then we have Glint's other baby is out there somewhere.
Yeah. And we have Tequatl getting stronger and stronger, who could potentially reach Elder Dragon status as well. Like, to be honest, anyone in the world, like at this point, that has potential to become an Elder Dragon is Tequatl, because we know he's getting stronger.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of prison still that he could just take over. You know,
isn't there a theory that Zaitan isn't dead kicking around? That he was that he was merely defeated.
But you can break out of the map in the story mode of Iran. You can see his corpse. So.
To find his corpse,
yeah.
Plus, you also have, if he was simply defeated but not destroyed, however that would work. You still have the vision of the Eternal Alchemy, where his death just completely destroyed everything.
Oh, I don't know,
I don't know.
man. This is what I like so much. The stuff that they're throwing at us now, like the stuff with Glint's baby, that has been so important. Like this, especially like for the second half of the season, it's actually been like our main focus. Basically, has been this egg, but we kind of don't really have an idea of why we need it. Like everyone's talking about like, oh no, it's, you know, should you come with us on the airships with the pact? No, I need to find the egg. It's like the most important thing right now. It's more important than anything else.
Oh, and then they're like, oh, she's not here. She ran off again. We don't have any memory seeds left. Oh, let's just go ask Destiny's Edge.
And as it turns out, it was the right decision to not go on the airships.
Well, yeah, exactly. I don't know. But I'm super looking forward to finding out why the egg is so important and what you know it's gonna mean.
There has to be something really big behind this egg. I just don't know why. Calith is apparently the only one who knows, and the Zephyrites.
Yeah. I mean, and she's kind of working alone in this as well, because the pale, like I said, the pale tree was like,
didn't want her to take
why she got it. You're supposed to have the egg. Why has she got it? And it was kind of weird, and it's like she's working on her own here. And what does she know that everyone else doesn't? We got kind of comforted by Destiny's Edge in this patch, you know, saying that, well, Calith, you know, she's always on the good side. She works in mysterious ways, you know. She kind of is really literal, and she just does what she thinks is best at any time. But she's never been bad. Like, in everything she's done has been for the overall good. And we saw her dark secret. Yeah, she killed another firstborn, but it was to keep the secret, you know, away from bad things happening, basically, good. And stuff. So we've got, like, while I still personally don't feel like I trust her, you know, I have to remind myself that actually we've kind of been given no reason to trust that she's going to do anything bad with it. But I don't know why she's taking it.
Why she's not asking us for help.
And why she's working completely alone, like even separate from the pale tree. It's just...
That's the strange part.
Aside from the fact that her entire race have now proven to be corruptible by Mordremoth. Whatevs.
maybe she is kind of bad. I don't know. Maybe she's just been corrupted this whole time.
I mean, I
suppose she would be friends with Scarlet.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm assuming that everyone thinks that Heart of Thorns is an expansion, that we're going full on expansion.
Yes. I can't think of it being anything else.
It's so. I mean, like for it not to be. That's just such a genius piece of marketing at the end of season 2. Just like kind of you know, if it wasn't, they could have just left it. They're going, ooh, what's going to happen? But they're like, bang, packs announcements.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Heart of Thorns and all that kind of thing. And it's such a good idea. Like I'm really impressed with that. It's just. Like it's viral marketing in your own game.
Yeah, because I don't know. Like I think Wooden Potatoes mentioned it in his video, and I think I've seen a couple of people on Reddit talking about it. But like the upload on their YouTube of the cutscene was like an Easter egg. The title said Easter egg.
Strange.
So maybe it was at first going to be like somehow buried in the game. Like you weren't going to see it as just easily, but now they've just decided to blast everyone with it, and I'm really glad they did because. The whole community, like straight away afterwards, was like,
"Hype train!"
I was like, I was pretty much screaming in my seat when I was playing, like watching, and when it ended, I was just like, it was just such a good idea. They could have uploaded it just to YouTube, but they decided just to throw it in there for everyone who played the story because it was just. And I think that's the best. Like the best way they could have delivered it was in game. And yeah, it's weird having an advert in your game, but. I don't care really, like it was just so effective and it got me, like not only do you get the big finale cutscene, which was amazing anyway, but then you have this amazingly like animated thing and like all these cool hints at stuff, like seeing the Masar and the spears and stuff and you're like noticing all this stuff, you're like, it was just so, and it made me like double hyped for the PAX announcement and it's secured them a lot of viewers for that as well now.
And
so excited.
And in 6 months' time or whatever, when Heart of Thorns is out, all they have to do is switch that cutscene with a version of the cutscene without the announcement on it. Boom, job done. You've got your continuity in your story there.
Yeah.
And I was, I was watching. I was getting really carried away with all like the potential bits and pieces that they might start chucking in as well, because that shaman's been finding new bits of armor, and of course I'm sitting here just praying for craftable precursors and guild halls and all the rest of it, and like an expansion to introduce all this stuff would just be
it'd be perfect,
absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
it's the time to do it, and like you get like a bonus kind of PvE content pack that's separate from what we're all assuming is an expansion at the moment of like guild halls, blah 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 blah. I mean, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be. I've got really like you were saying, Corvus. Like by the time the end of by the time I finished episode 8, I was just like,
yeah, the hype was too real.
The hype was too real, and like I just kind of plodded along through season 2. Oh, Belinda's dead. Who gives a shit? Let's go and
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm still not over not being able to not be over Belinda, if you know what I mean. It's and
I don't know, man. This whole episode was kind of, I don't know. I was really worried that the episode was going to be super long, and it was going to make me like go, why didn't they just take the start of this and add it on to the last? Because the last 2 episodes have been really short and kind of didn't have any answers in them. But I think it was like the perfect length, like for an episode and a finale. It gave us an answer, and it gave us a few hints at other things, and then ended on a nice cutscene, and then a trailer for what they're going to do next. It was just, like I said at the start, I think this is definitely my favorite update to the whole of. I don't know, man. Like I think the last time I said that was when the Eternal Alchemy, where we saw the vision. I think that before then, that was that.
Mm-hmm.
This is just spot on, and I don't know what they're gonna announce. I think it's gonna be an expansion, but maybe they're gonna deliver it differently to ArenaNet. So they're gonna want to do it differently. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna
deliver it differently. I pray that PAX South is where they announce the features, like new weapons, new class. We need those new things, not just new story or a new map or something. It just has to be giant things that we've wanted for 2.5 years.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
Has to be this giant new race, new class, new skills.
I want to hear a bit of. I want to hear like the back of the box type description of the story. But I think it's 90 minutes long. They're gonna have to go quite deep into some features. Which is the main focus for
release dates. We want box art. We want what is the collector's edition going to include? I want everything. All right, next week.
It'd be so good.
But
I think it's strange that it's happening so close to the end of season 2. It's hinting at maybe coming out a lot earlier than I expect. Like I would say, my guess would be like August. Theoretically, because
that would be
it's enough time for marketing and stuff.
That's the birthday.
But then why would they show stuff off January, like only a week after the finale?
Like you said, marketing. You need all this time for marketing, maybe a beta, some beta weekends, and just hype. You're hyped off of the end of the episode. You don't want to have a month for everybody to settle down with nothing to do and then say, "Oh, big announcement." I think you want to ride the hype train. I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I don't want everyone to get burnt out. Like have the finale and they're super hyped, and then have the announcement, and then they see all the new stuff, and then
you've got to wait
6 months to come along. Yeah,
we have to have something in between. I think Super Adventure Box.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Super Adventure Box. Maybe Dragon Bash comes back. Like a couple of
Dragon Bash would be perfect.
It would be really good. To fill that gap, but I don't know. I just the time they're announcing it, so short after so soon after the finale, it would make sense for whatever they're announcing to come out super soon afterwards.
Yeah,
but it kind of does also make sense for it to come out like August as well. So I honestly I think from a business point of view, it makes sense to have months and months of advertising. But I can't say for sure which one I think is more likely. It could come out. A couple months away from now, but it could come out 6 months from now, and I don't know, it's tricky. It's hard to judge, really.
I think as well. I mean, again, this kind of goes back to what's been going on the last 6-9 months in the community with the sudden rise in quality of what we've been getting from ArenaNet, especially the last few sets of weapon skins have been exceptional, like in quality. And I think that they've looked at the situation, and the game's 2.5 years old now, and you know, although we're all incredibly excited and we're hyped up and everything, we're only just now talking about getting an expansion pack. Yeah. And I think as much as I love this game, it is make or break time for ArenaNet. It's like,
it really is.
What they've got to do with whatever they're going to do in the next 6 months, it's got to blow our minds away. They've got to we're going to do this, and we just got to go, fuck, that's incredible. Excuse me, sorry.
Dude, no, I totally agree. I think I was saying something fairly similar maybe last episode, where I was saying that, like, if they don't announce what the community wants, I think it's going to hit a lot of people really hard, and it could potentially cause people to just, you know, throw the hat down and really kind of give up, because it's been a long time that we've been asking for stuff like this. You know, and I'm not slagging the game off in any way. I love this game so much, but, like, you know, a lot of people are, you know, they've been playing with the same 5 weapon skills for 2.5 years. They've been, you know, they've had 1 new heal skill in 2.5 years.
Two. Let's
2.
I'm sorry.
Let's not forget our antitoxin skill that we all use on a regular basis.
They're so useful, dude. Nah, but, like, you know what I mean? It's they've been playing the same dungeons for that long. Okay, they added 1 new path.
It's a good
Fractals path. It's a really good path. Yeah. And Fractals have basically not been. They've just kind of been forgotten about. Like, for a lot of people, this stuff, one PvP game mode and stuff, and, you know, PvP's, you know, all right, but it's still something that should be touched, you know, and given a bit of, like, a lick of paint and stuff. But in 2.5 years, we've not really gotten anything like that. The feature packs have been really good. Being fair, the September one wasn't amazing, but, like, you know, they've been giving us stuff like that, but nothing close to what a normal MMO would get. You know, stuff like balance issues as well. Like, it's just, this is really needed. This stuff is and I think
something amazing.
I think
hopefully they're gonna please people, and it's not gonna cause, like, a, you know, a mass uninstall or something.
I think as well, on top of that, they've got to bear in mind what's happening in the single player market as well, because traditionally when people rage quit MMOs, they go back to the single players, and 2014 has been phenomenal for single player RPGs. You've had the Baldur's Gate enhanced editions come out, you've got the Icewind Dale enhanced edition, you've got Pillars of Eternity beta testing, you've had Wasteland 2 coming out, you've had Divinity Sin, you've had Blackguard, you've had Kingdoms of Zulmir, you've had all of these incredible RPGs that are coming out, and the competition against them is really, really stiff in terms of what's going on.
Zelda U's coming out.
Zelda, yeah. But I think at the moment, ArenaNet don't need to worry about the competition in the MMO market, because I dived into arcades the other day, and it was everything that had been done before. And Guild Wars 2 is still the only MMO out there that is trying something new, that isn't just retreading the same old stuff. Even though we kind of complain about it and just go, oh, they're doing this again. Like, you know, 3 years ago, if someone had said, you know, you're going to be getting new content every 2 weeks, you know, it's going to be permanent content, it's going to be new story you can play through to log in, you're going to be able to fight huge dragons on maps with people without having to go into raid instances and get DPS meters on your screen, you know. In 2011, people were going, yeah, all right, sure, whatever. But we're at that point now where Guild Wars 2 it's strong enough to stand up on its own, and I'm just really excited where we're going to be in 6 months' time.
Totally.
Definitely.
I think it's...
We're at an hour, guys. I hate to cut you guys off, but we were way past an hour, actually.
That's fair enough.
We'll have to have a part 2 or a special or something. Oh my god!
Yeah.
There's so much hype.
It's ridiculous.
Any final thoughts before we head out?
I don't know.
Corvus, for once you're speechless.
Yeah.
PAX. I can't
PAX.
wait.
Come on, PAX, don't let us down.
Oh, so excited. Alright, guys. That is our hype train for Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns. We will see you guys again soon. Go out and check out everybody's channels and everything, and we will see you next time. Hype Train, go!
Bye. Peace out, guys. See you soon.
Take care, lovelies.
Bye.